I know we keep talking about the whole VTubers and how the, official management and them and how that kind of is and stuff like that. And I know some of y'all are probably getting tired of it, but there's just talking points to it that I just feel like I need to just bring up. And I'm not necessarily gonna lie, I'm kind of just thinking about myself and how do I kind of move forward? Because I'm not necessarily gonna lie, I can talk mad nonsense about people all day if I really wanted to, and talk about how I don't necessarily like certain aspects of the top people and how they kind of do content creation. But when it comes down to things, it's also like at the very same time, it's kind of like I'm not necessarily making any type of moves myself. Granted, I have been very open to making moves. I have tried to get in the eyes of different people, but that does not work. Like, literally, just trying to talk to people in regular ways does not really work. It's a concept that may be just cursed for me, that probably just doesn't work. And it's the main reason why I kind of stopped bothering trying to, talk to people in regular ass ways. Just kind of ignore everybody and do my own thing. But ignoring everybody and doing my own thing, while I can do that, it's also like a very not so beneficial thing for myself, honestly. And it's just not easy, Like, granted, I by myself, honestly, gotten, this far, and with the very few help of around, some people that came through in my time of doing content creation for 3.5 years. But when it comes down to things, it's just like outside of certain people, not really much has like happened to make things get better, I suppose. Because I keep seeing like everybody either going to an agency or going to become like going into like a VTuber agency, or like going into like a regular content creator agency. And my thing is like, and the reason why I'm kind of like hesitant a little bit to go for it is because I'm like, if I were to sign up to something like Mythic or something, right, and try to go for them or something of the sort, would that mean I have to literally change who I am and the things that I do and the things that I end up saying? Because honestly, I don't really feel like faking a personality. I just don't. Even if it's for the benefits for me and to be, doing what I'm supposed to. Like, I'm not going to necessarily say, like, oh, disrespectful nonsense to someone's face, especially if something that I don't agree with. I'm going to express how I feel about said decision, but I'm not necessarily going to just straight up pretend like it doesn't exist, though. Like, that's kind of like the thing. I'm not saying this because I want to play hardball or I just don't get along with other people, but it's just like, if there is something wrong or there's something in my spirit that's just telling me it ain't right, or something's not right here regarding someone or something else entirely, then I will bring it up. I will bring it up and I will make a video about it. Question is, would a company, much less a, agency, put up with my ass for that type of thing? You know? It kind of is like an it is what it is type of situation, but at the same time, it's really not an it is what it is type of situation. It's a lot convoluted in that, and it's just very frustrating, honestly. For any person that I will say that wants to start doing content creation, or anybody that wants to build up a channel and become successful, getting connections is by far the hardest or the most easiest thing that you could possibly do. If you're genuinely trying to get connections, it could be hard, but if you are faking a personality and you really don't necessarily care, but you want the money out of the grand scheme of things, then it could be fairly easy for you. But for someone like me who doesn't necessarily like to fake personalities or lie about a lot of things, or, just be putting up a facade and doing a whole bunch of stuff, if that was the case, I would not become a VTuber. Honestly, I would not become a YouTuber. I would not be this shoulder tuber that you see. That's something I just don't want to honestly do, and because it's just absolutely frustrating. Especially, there's been plenty of times where YouTubers have done the fake personality thing and then act out in their ways of what they want to be, and then a lot of times it fails, or a lot of times it doesn't get over as a lot of people would think it would, and then sometimes it does get them over, but they change up so much to the point I can't stand to watch them anymore. And that's something I don't want to necessarily change up when it comes to me. Like, if I have to hold back on some things and restrain some part of self, then fine. If you want me to be a little bit more restraint on certain things, I can do that. But at the very same time, I'm not gonna just completely, you know, keep myself in a way where it's not gonna be, damaging of who I am or my reputation or what the audience thinks of me. And that's kind of literally how it is. Because most people that work in like agencies and have these big podcasts and stuff like that, they are so normal to the point it feels unnatural, right? Or at least to me, it feels like everybody that's at the top and this is just my own personal opinion and what I've been thinking for a while, is that everybody's like so natural and do their own thing and is so, I guess, good with other people in a way, to the point it just feels a bit unnatural. Like, it's like they're trying to keep up this perfect picture, and it just like, nah, that's not how that works. That's absolutely not how that works. Like, there is some cracks in here that is here, but you just don't show it. Granted, it's good to not show your weakness, but at the same time, stop. It's like you don't. It's like we can easily tell, or at least I can easily tell, that there's something wrong here, or it wouldn't surprise me if something bad ends up happening. It just, I don't know. I just wish there was more people that would just straight with their audience and more, you know, telling the truth with the audience and telling what's going on instead of being locked behind closets and doors and all this type of stuff. At least that's what I feel like. I'm not saying that people need to absolutely go bonkers and crazy and, change up everything about themselves, but they need to do the most of being truthful, I would say. Be truthful to who they are and what they want to show out to the world and stuff. Because that just doesn't happen, honestly, for a lot of people that goes into the content creation game. It just doesn't happen a lot of the times. And it's very frustrating when, you watch certain content creators and, they just do whatever and, it feels, I wouldn't say fake, but it feels like it's just, they're holding up some type of facade or something like that. I think the biggest offense to me too is like when you're a content creator or you're someone small and you're trying to, get these connections, try to talk to people, and then when no one literally gives you the time of day and you're trying your absolute best to move out there, nothing's happening, then you end up honestly seeing like some other bigger content creator that's better than you or something like that ends up saying something like, life advice or something like that, or content creation advice or something like that. And then literally people kind of take it as the gospel, like it's actually like facts and it's true. And then they can say certain things, and I'm just here a bit jealous. I'm not gonna hold you, but at the same time, it's like you say that because you have money. You're in a good situation now. You're not in a situation where you gotta worry about, oh damn, can I afford to eat tomorrow? Like, you're not in that type of position anymore. Granted, I understand you got your bag, and I'm not necessarily mad at that. That's fine. But at the very same time, it's also like, well, what works for you doesn't work for everybody else. It's not the same type of tactic. Obviously, if something happened for me where my channel were to grow and become successful overnight for some reason, that would be great. But I can't tell you what happens for me works out for everybody else. You could post a meme and be like what I did with the redo a healer thing and just post a meme, and then I would probably say like, oh, you get lucky. But would that really happen to everybody? Probably to a few people, probably to some, but it's not going to happen to everybody because that just doesn't happen that way. I just got the luck of the draw right there. But when it comes down to things, it's just like, people can say certain things and be in certain situations and have money and be in better opportunities and say certain things and be like, yeah, this works, this is fine, you should do this instead of doing that, or focus your time on doing this instead of doing that. But at the end of the day too, you gotta realize that just doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't. It honestly really doesn't. Talking about a lot of people, you gotta have to, sacrifice a lot of things. But when things aren't moving, hell, people start to give up and be like, oh, screw it, I live this one life anyway, so I might as well, do whatever I want to, even if I don't necessarily have a lot of money, I'll just do whatever I want to anyway, because it's not like I'm moving any shape and form, right? And it's like you're stuck in that situation. It's like, well, what else do we do when you tried everything? You know, even if you keep trying and you're not giving up, it's like still, it's just like, how do we keep moving though? You know, and I suppose that's the position that I'm in. You know, again, when it comes down to things, I don't necessarily hate people. I just hate the decisions that a lot of times people make. And when it comes to the top of people, I'm pretty sure they're decent people, somewhat. Not everybody, but they're pretty much like decent people. But at the very same time, it's like, how do I reach that? How is this possible? How? Because I often see my friends obviously be in the same position as I am, and then they still can't get anywhere either. And it's like, what the hell do we have to do to get over? Do we just gotta bombard other people's channels? So we gotta hack their shit? Don't do that. Do not do that. But when it comes down to things, it's like, how do we get over? You know, it's like, how is this possible? And the biggest thing is, it's gonna be coming down to really what you do as, you know, as a content creator, what you do yourself. You really can't take anybody's advice outside of be yourself when it comes to things, because if you do anything else, it might not necessarily work. That's literally just the case. It literally comes down to people and their interaction with you and how, you know, people kind of come to you, and that will probably help boost up your, you know, connections and channel and everything of the sort. But when nothing like that is happening for you and no one takes a chance on you, things just get a shit ton more difficult. And it's like, how do we go from how do we do this? You know, that's literally what this is. So, you know, again, if I were to join like an agency or something like that, it's possible I could do it. But the thing is, would they want me around if I'm gonna be truthful? And then that's like a whole thing too. And then at the same time, when that's the case and no one literally wants to pick you up, how do you make it without, you know, connections and stuff like that? The big thing is, you really can't. And that's the annoying factor in things. But I don't want to necessarily lie about who I am or what I do, you know? And it just gets a lot more difficult as time kind of progresses, because things are kind of, you know, cutting close and cutting corners in certain moments and things that you need to do. And then it's at the same time, it's just like, how do you fix this and, you know, try to do things when no one literally gives you a chance to do the things, you know? That's like the biggest thing that kind of, I guess, bothered me when it comes to content creation personally. But yeah, I don't really know what this video really came down to, but all in all, it's just really difficult to be a, you know, a content creator of lower level, because really not a lot of people will take a chances on you. And then another thing too, I think, is also the fact that a lot of times people don't want that competition to have to deal with other people in the same field and then try to outdo them in some shape and form, because that just isn't, you know, something they probably want to deal with. It's probably the reason why you don't see a lot of new and creative people coming through. It's why you probably keep seeing like the same people kind of do interesting and cool things, but no one really new kind of steps in and does it, you know? So it kind of sucks. And you know, the craziest thing is too, is that, you know, there's people that do like horrible things and is awful and don't necessarily, you know, deserve the position that they be in, because they be doing a lot of wild ass stuff. And then people complain about it, and then you're like, you do realize y'all can build up a new star, honestly, right? Y'all can build up a new person when it comes to content creation, but y'all don't do that, and it's so weird, and I don't necessarily understand why. You know, again, it really comes down to people and how they are kind of like connected to you. But it's just like, how does this work all in all? And that's like the biggest question of everything, honestly. And it's just like, you don't necessarily know. You don't necessarily know. You just try to take the chance and just see what happens, but still the chances be, you know, blowing up in your face, and you don't necessarily know how to respond to everything, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, that's basically really all I really want to say for this one, so hopefully they enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow me on the socials, seeing you like to donate to the channel. Patreon is available as well. And until then, it's your boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.